Welcome to Nakuru City. They call this the land of unlimited opportunities, and among those opportunities is quality education. This is where St. Paul's University comes in. Within the heart of Nakuru City, you'll find St. Paul's University Nakuru campus. This campus was established in May 2011 to offer diploma, undergraduate and postgraduate courses to those who could not make it to the main campus in Limuru or Nairobi and Machakos campuses. And one thing stands out at this campus: the level of investment for students to access institutions such as this university. Or rather, do you ask yourself, why is it that we must have libraries in universities? Well, come with me at St. Paul's University Nakuru Campus Library, where we'll talk to one Davis Mutaki, who will help us answer those questions, including the place of e-learning today, because as you know, technology is taking over and we cannot be left out. This is Mizani Elimu episode 1, and my name is Pius Agata. But before we talk to Davis Mutaki, like I said, do you know that the oldest known library in the world is believed to have been assembled by Ashurbanipal, king of the Assyrians, between the year 666 and 631 BC. This library was located in his royal palace in Nineveh, in the present-day northern Iraq, karibu na Mosul, and it included some 30,000 clay tablets inscribed with cuneiform writing. Here in Kenya, the history of libraries dates back to the second half of the 19th century, when Western civilization began. Until the coming of the Europeans, most foreigners in East Africa were Arabs, who, by the way, had no interest in libraries, unlike the European missionaries. So, long story short, why do you need library services as a student? Davis Mutaki says, hapa ndio mambo yote hupikiwa, yani a library ndio kitchen ya student. Start by telling us your name and what you do here at St. Paul's University.
My name is Davis Mutaki. I work as the senior library assistant here in Nakuru campus. Yeah.
For how long?
For like 12 years now.
12 years.
Yep.
So you've seen a lot of students coming in, graduating.
Yes. A lot of students, a lot of staff.
Yeah. So tell us, why is it that library ni kitu cha maana sana kwa universities?
The library is the kitchen of the university. That is where everything is cooked. A university without a library would not be a university, because we do a lot of research, a lot of learning that is dependent on the library. Yeah.
So without maktaba,
no, you wouldn't have any business going on here.
And that is not all. If you are new to using library resources, you must first be ready to learn how to use those resources. What happens when a student joins St. Paul's University?
She or he has to go through an orientation process of the library to get to know what we do. Before then, we register them in collaboration with the registry office that gives us information about the student, which then we put in our systems, and then we are now able to allow the student to borrow and to use our resources. But we also do a lot of training for our students so that they understand how to borrow, the kind of resources we have, and the kind of services that we offer. So that is what we do here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this name OPAC, Online Public Access Catalog, what is it all about?
As I've said, that you have to be a registered member of the library.
Okay.
Depending on which category of student you are, if you're a PhD, master's, undergraduate, certificate, or diploma, there are different borrowing durations that have been assigned to them. Although we still will take you through how to search for books on the shelves. So you need to also be able to know the location of books through our online public access catalog, and be able to locate the books, bring them over the circulation desk, and then we're able to issue them out to you. So at St. Paul's Nakuru Campus Library, you don't just get access to physical books and journals. Pia kuna meza iko hapa ready for the lovers of news like myself. And by the way,
If you don't love hard copy newspapers, kuna electronic newspapers around. If you like it, call them e-papers that you can read online and leave when you are done.
That we also have e-papers, which we have paid for, that our students are able to access from right here in the library, and use and access an e-paper like every day. Yeah.
Let us go back to 2020 when Corona hit and many services were brought to a halt. Shule zikafungwa and learning was almost impossible to some institutions. Maktaba hata za kitaifa zikawa mahame. However, St. Paul's University made sure students could continue with their education at home. This was not hard to implement, was it, Mr. Davis? I mean, there was an already working system for distance learning students. So swali nafaa niulize ni, how did these thousands of students get access to books and other learning materials while at home?
The library came up with an institution repository. We had it, but it wasn't very active then. But it is now, where we have a lot of online information materials. And we also came up with what we're calling Remote X, that is remote access to the university library, where students can access our servers when they want to borrow ebooks or to use ebooks and other information materials. And we provide that service and support to our students through our platforms. We're able to communicate them through email and through phones and be able to connect them. Yeah, and they come over for registration, and we are able to train them on how to use that resource. We work in tandem with the ICT department because they're the guys who support our systems. If our systems are down, then all the students that are depending on our remote access, that are depending on our equipment here to access the different information resources, they will not be able to. So we can't do without them. Yeah.
So after registration, there is nothing much apart from accessing the books online. Yes. Where do you get these books from?
We buy and also get donations from abroad.
This means St. Paul's University has to invest millions in buying hard and soft copies of learning materials, right?
But we also have quite a big budget for books. Yeah, the library
spends... So it's a huge investment.
Huge investment. Library spends over 14-15 million shillings on books every year. Yes, every academic year. Yeah.
And the e-resources?
And the e-resources also pay for them. They're not free. Yeah.
The journals?
They're not free. We pay for them in millions.
The newspapers?
Yes, we pay.
So what do I need to have or know to access these books if I'm a student at St. Paul's University? So if I'm a new student and I want a book maybe on Christian values, do I have to know the title of the book or the number of the book?
Not specifically, or not only the title of the book. You still can access the book by knowing the author. The International Standards book number will also give you access to the book. But one thing that you must know how to do is to use our online public access catalog, which we usually teach and to train our students on. It will give you access to the library holdings, the kind of information materials we have, and the allocation. So if you're having any trouble then allocating this book on the shelves, then you could come over the library and the librarian will show you where it is. Yeah.
So finally, I have my book that I wanted, Practical Ethics, 2nd edition by Peter Singer. And like David said, kuna number hapa. This is BJ 1012, the one that you got from the OPAC. And for the students who think kuingia kwenye maktaba na kufanya research is a waste of time, Mtaki has some wise words. You just can't avoid plagiarism if you don't read or do research. Some students think it's a waste of time.
That is unfair.
Doing research.
That is
wacha niingie class nisome, like niende, why should I come and research?
Because you stand on the shoulders of the great people. I will say the same thing about the academics, that you can only build on the ideas that others have developed. And those ideas are in books. So you're not going to reinvent the wheel when it has already been invented.
And of course, researching is one way of avoiding plagiarism.
It's actually the main way of avoiding plagiarism.
So without it,
you will have plagiarized someone's work.
Okay. So talk to students who avoid library work.
It's an unfortunate thing. You cannot do without a library. In the process of learning, or even when you're out of here, you must be able to use what has already been generated by others. For you to grow even as an academic or in a profession, you must read broadly and not only depend on the teacher's notes that you get in class. Yeah, you must be able to read really broadly, and the library gives you access to that kind of broadness.
And now I believe you know why, as a student, you should always pay a visit to these shelves. For instance, if you are a communication student, media studies, communication works, human communication, the basic courses, and many other books. This one is Mass Communication Theory by McQuills and so many. Kwa wapenzi wa Kiswahili, Kiswahili Kitukuzwa is here, and many more. Chemichemi za Kiswahili is here. Kutoka meza ya Mizani ya Elimu, that would be all for now. On behalf of my colleagues, my name is Pius Agata. See you next episode.